Hello everyone. This video is made to answer a question a couple of people asked after seeing my Loud Ranger in a Dungeon video. A few folks asked me what the build was that I was using. This isn't any particular meta build, it's just something that I came up with. My brother and I were goofing around with Ranger builds that do not use bow. And I liked the way that the theme we were going for synergized with the types of skills I like to use. We were going for a bird-themed build, so you see the pet I'm using is the owl. And I also use the white raven. So anyway, here's a breakdown of the gear, the accessories, and the skill tree. The gear that I use is Zoes, but anything that gives you power, toughness, and healing power is those are the three stats you want for that. The sigil I use is Rune, Superior Rune of the Flock. And that again is for the bird themed build because you get a couple of free bird summons, but it also synergizes well with the support role that I like to run with this build because it gives you bonus healing. And when you use a healing skill, you get a nearby bonus to free healing for allies. The weapons that I use are toughness, healing power, and condition damage. So again, they buff toughness and healing power, but they throw in a little condition damage, which is, several of the skills on the bar from the axes and the war horn. They do some condition damage as well as the pets. The owl does pretty decent shield. I think he used to do bleeding, but I believe ANET changed that. And it's handy to buff that. So that's why I went with that on the weapons, toughness, healing, and condition damage. And the sigils I'm using on the weapons are, the first one is Superior Sigil of Transference, buffs healing. Superior Sigil of Life, 25 stacks of that, buffs healing. On the accessories, I filled out what was missing from the armor. I have Vitality and then healing power and condition damage. The armor does power and toughness. The weapons do toughness and condition. And the accessories do vitality and condition, and everything buffs healing power. The passion flower jewel that's in there is slightly different, healing, condition, and toughness, because I think I ended up with a little less toughness than I was comfortable with. And the back piece is just a generic power, vitality, and toughness. I just go with that for simplicity. But yeah, the jewel that I put in those is all the same. Now, 1500 toughness and 1500 vitality on this build with a lot of the counters and transfers of things like conditions and damage to your pet or pets makes this more like having about 2000 up there effectively. If you were like, say, on a thief or some other martial class, guardian or whatever, the ranger with these stats but also these skills is a little tougher than those numbers would lead you to believe. So it actually works really well. The net result also is I've got a little bit of condition damage here, but I have 1300 healing power, and that's with no buffs, no stacks, or nothing. The build centers around shouts and warhorn skills, which you have 2 of them here, and several on the bar. And basically it breaks down to this. In Beast Mastery, you take the bottom 3. Those are going to give you regen and swiftness, and gives your pet heals, and makes your axes do more damage. So those are good for this build. The next one is Nature Magic. You're going to take top, bottom, middle. That gives you increased damage for each boon affecting you, and this build spams boons. You're going to constantly have 3 or 4 on there. Warhorn skills give you regen. Up here, these are, I believe, shouts give you regen. Yep. Shouts and warhorn skills. Both of them will give you regen, and this one will give you regen and swiftness. And protective ward. Whenever you receive damage, nearby foes are weakened. So basically, now they do less damage, and you have tons of free regen. It works well. Also, the last one is Wilderness Survival. We have Oakheart Salve. That gives you regen whenever your condition is put on you. So again, free regen to counter conditions. It gives you Shared Anguish, which any like CCs or disables, they get transferred to your pet instead, that helps counter a lot of controls. And Wilderness Knowledge, which gives you Fury, when you remove conditions and stuff. So those are the traits used for this build, and this is the gear used for this build. And the way that it works, I'm just going to target the bird. Something else nice is we heal as one, copies your runes to the bird. I think one of these traits does that, or used to anyway. But basically your chain is 7, 8, and 9, which are all instant, and then 0, 5, and 6. And that will give you and the bird tons of boons, and you'll see something interesting. 25 stacks on the bird of both stability and might, so he's freaking unstoppable. And swiftness, regen, and fury for days, because you'll notice even though this is cooling down, fury is going to have the shortest duration of the 3 boons that stay on you. But the swiftness and the regen last a long time, and I've now got 3 skills that are going to reapply it. 4 skills now that are going to reapply those buffs. You saw protection in there too. And there's another one. 20 stacks of might, but also swiftness, regen, and fury never ended. And now they have even longer durations, and they will build up to about 2 minutes, which I think is the max duration for buffs, because of the way this build keeps them on there for you. So you can see that me and the bird both getting tons and tons and tons of buffs. And you just keep doing this, and the regeneration at 25 stacks of might, the regen for a passive heal is nothing to sneeze at. You can stand in the fire a lot and not feel the pressure. It takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of your frontliners. And you know, since you can shout at them from the back line, you're not usually in any spike damage danger. So you don't have to worry too much about it, and they generally have the toughness or the high armor builds to be able to withstand it. So this actually works really well as a support build. Now, I know that there's probably better healing and support builds for things like Druid on Ranger, for example, but I like running vanilla classes, excuse me, and this build will let you play a really effective support role as a Ranger without having to buy the expansions right away. And I like that idea. And it has been fun. As you can see, I've run it for a while, in a couple of dungeons, and really enjoyed it. It actually has helped some folks. And, yeah, we have a blast with it. Anyway, I hope this explanation of how the build works was helpful. You guys understand and see how it does what it does. The fact that the duration is now like 1 minute 30 seconds. 20 something on the regen, but on me, yep, 20. And fury is almost down, might's almost down, but all my cooldowns are back. And I probably hit the heal too fast. Yeah, I messed that up. You want to let 5 finish before you hit 6. But even with messing up, you can see that the swiftness and the regen just never end. And I'm going to have almost all my skills come off a cooldown around the same time now, so... boom. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy build, and it's loads of fun. The Fury and the Might don't just help you do more damage, you already do a fair amount of condition damage. It's not a condition build, but it's not anything to take lightly. But once you throw that really fast burst of like 25 stacks of Might and Fury in there, it gets a little crazy. You can do more damage than the spec would lead you to believe, and you can take more damage than the specs would lead you to believe. So, hope you guys enjoy it, have fun with it, I hope it's useful, and you know, if you get the expansion you try Druid or something else, more power to you. Me personally though, I love this build, and I run it a lot, have a lot of fun with it. Anywho, enjoy the game, and I hope this was helpful, and I hope this answered y'all's questions on what kind of build I used when I was running that dungeon.